See wisemarkets.com for program details and exclusions.
Good morning, America. Supreme Court bombshell. The woman accusing nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault has now come forward, saying he attacked her when they were in high school. The stunning allegations emerge just days before his confirmation vote, and now her lawyer is joining us live.
Flooding emergency. The Carolinas underwater. As rescue crews race to save those trapped, the death toll climbing and the devastation growing from catastrophic flooding. And now more relentless rain on the way. Multiple dams on the verge of breaching. Authorities warning this morning the worst could be yet to come.
Deadly shark attack. A 26-year-old killed boogie boarding off Cape Cod. His friend now telling his story, how he raced in to try and save him.
Breaking her silence. Woody Allen's wife, Sunyi Previn, speaks out for the first time, 20 years after their relationship made tabloid headlines. Her explosive new allegations against adoptive mother Mia Farrow and how she's defending her husband.
And circus scare. At least 6 children injured after this terrifying moment. A camel getting loose, running wild with a rider on top.
Live in Times Square, this is GMA with Robin Roberts, George Stephanopoulos, and Michael Strahan.
Good morning, America. I hope you had a good weekend. It is great to have Cecilia back, and boy, do we have a lot of breaking news this morning.
It has been a very busy weekend, George. The death toll is growing from Florence. So much devastation in the Carolinas, and the danger is not over yet. There are now new warnings about potentially life-threatening flooding. Much more on that in a moment.
But first, we want to begin with that allegation against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. A woman coming forward accusing him of sexual assault when they were in high school. Now she's telling her story. Her attorney is standing by. But first, our senior national correspondent Terry Moran starts us off with the latest. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Robin. This is a bombshell accusation that is about to trigger an all-out partisan and terribly personal war over Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court, as Democrats and Republicans are going to fight with everything they've got over what happened 35 years ago between 2 high school students in Maryland.
This morning, the Supreme Court nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh could be in jeopardy. A woman going public saying he sexually assaulted her when they were in high school. Christine Blasey Ford, a college professor in California, tells the Washington Post Kavanaugh and a friend were stumbling drunk at a party in the 1980s and allegedly forced her into a bedroom. She says the now Supreme Court nominee allegedly pinned her to a bed and groped her. She says, he was trying to attack me and remove my clothing. I thought he might inadvertently kill me. She told the Post when she tried to scream, he put his hand over her mouth. She says she managed to escape and fled the house. Kavanaugh has categorically denied the accusation, saying in a statement, I did not do this back in high school or at any time. And White House spokesman Raj Shah saying, we are standing with Judge Kavanaugh's denial. Ford shared her story this summer with Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein, the ranking member on the Judiciary Committee. She referred it to the FBI, and the FBI included it in Kavanaugh's background file. According to the Post, Ford took a polygraph test administered by a former FBI agent in early August, and the test concluded that Ford was being truthful.
Shut this hearing down!
The Judiciary Committee is scheduled to vote on Kavanaugh's nomination on Thursday, following days of hotly contested hearings.
A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law.
But Democrats are now calling to delay the vote until the allegations are investigated. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says in a statement, to railroad a vote now would be an insult to the women of America and the integrity of the Supreme Court. Several Republican senators are also calling for a delay, including a member of the committee, Senator Jeff Flake, saying Ford must be heard and that he's not comfortable moving ahead with the vote on Thursday if we have not heard her side of the story or explored this further.
Christine Blasey Ford says she has never told anyone about this incident in any detail until 2012, when she and her husband were in couples therapy. The Washington Post has reviewed a portion of the therapist's notes. They note that while there is no mention of Kavanaugh personally, this incident is detailed, and that Christine Blasey Ford said that the teens involved went on to become highly respected members of Washington society. George.
Okay, Terry, thanks very much. Let's talk to Dr. Blasey's attorney right now. Deborah Katz joins us this morning. And Deborah, that's really the first big question we have right here. Why didn't your client come forward earlier?
Most victims of sexual assault and sexual violence never come forward. She came forward when she believed that it was her civic duty to alert her representative and then Senator Feinstein about her serious concerns. But she first came forward when the nominee's name was on a short list. And she came forward then because she was very concerned, and she had information about serious misconduct that he engaged in when he was in high school that she thought had a significant bearing on his character and fitness.
Yet over the course of the summer, it's my understanding that Senator Feinstein and others several times said, can you please go public with this, yet she refused. Why go public now?
Well, essentially, she made the decision not to go public, and those who were not satisfied with that decision essentially created pressure for her to come forward by alerting members of the media and others who essentially started going to her classes, going to her home, invading her privacy, and essentially the very ills that she sought to prevent by choosing to remain confidential were already happening to her, and she knew it was inevitable.
So she felt
that's why she came forward.
She felt her privacy had been compromised. The big question, what should happen right now? We know that Chairman Grassley on the Judiciary Committee is trying to set up staff phone calls with the professor, with Judge Kavanaugh as well. The Democrats have said that's not good enough. You need to have the FBI look at this some more. What do you want to happen?
Well, it's not clear what the Republicans are saying. I was listening to some reporting this morning saying that they're going to fight this tooth and nail. They're going to grill her. That's hardly an effort to get into a fair and thorough investigation of what has occurred. That's a very intimidating statement, and it really is designed to scare her and make her not want to come forward. She's willing to cooperate. What she's not willing to do is to be part of this bloodletting that happens in Washington. We only need to look at the Anita Hill hearings to know what that's going to look like, and that's not a fair way to get at the truth.
So what does that mean? That she would talk to the FBI, but that she doesn't want to testify publicly before the Senate Judiciary Committee?
I'm not saying that. We will consider all options. What I'm saying is that this has to be fair and thorough, and it can't be part of a slugging match. If we're really trying to get at the truth, hearings should not be used to be weaponized against those who accuse powerful men, and that's how this is being set up.
I just want to follow up on this one more time. How do you define fair and thorough? What is a fair and thorough way to investigate this right now?
Well, I think that her story has to be carefully listened to and vetted, but thus far the nominee has refused to even acknowledge if he knows her or if he went to school with her. And we know there's a significant amount of writing that Mark Judge has done, which he's now pulled down from the internet, where he acknowledged that this was the culture at Georgetown Prep, that they drank excessively, that they engaged in really inappropriate behavior, and Brett Kavanaugh was part of that group. So there's a lot that the FBI can be looking at in addition to taking a statement from my client.
Does Dr. Blasey believe that Judge Kavanaugh is fit to serve on the Supreme Court?
I think Dr. Blasey believes that he attempted to rape her when she was in high school, and that bears on his fitness and character.
Deborah Katz, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Let's bring in Chris Christie now, our political analyst, former Republican governor of New Jersey. We just heard what Dr. Blasey is asking for, a fair and thorough investigation. Is that a fair request?
Well, yeah, except you tried to ask her how you define that, and she really wouldn't define it. And I think that's part of the problem when information comes out this late in a process. Now, I think the key, George, is going to be what do the Republican members of that committee and of the Senate want to have happen. That's what's going to define what's fair and thorough here. You know, Democrats have politicized this tremendously already. They announced they were against Judge Kavanaugh before he even got on there to testify.
That's par for the course on both sides,
well,
isn't
that's
it?
absolutely true. So, but my point is that at this point now they can't be seen as credible, especially, you know, Senator Feinstein's conduct in this is also questionable in terms of the way it was handled. So I think it's going to come up to the folks that you saw in the preview there, folks like Senator Flake, Senator Corker, Senator Murkowski, Senator Collins. What do they consider to be a fair and thorough review? She's certainly going to have to be interviewed, whether that's just by staff or maybe some select members of the Senate and or the FBI. That's probably going to have to happen at a minimum.
Yeah, because you're a former prosecutor. This clearly couldn't be a criminal case right now. The statute of limitations is long past, but the FBI is equipped to do a background investigation.
Sure, and they have done a background investigation. You presume that in the background investigation, this did not come up. And so that also tells you something, maybe about the thoroughness of the FBI investigation, or maybe about the credibility of these allegations. We don't know. But I think the other thing that we talk about, and obviously the professor here needs to be heard, needs to have her allegations looked at, but also this is extraordinarily unfair to Judge Kavanaugh. This is an allegation that's 35 plus years old, and now you're going to attempt to try to deal with that in a very truncated period of time. This is why people are reluctant to get in front of those committees, George, and sit down for Senate confirmation, because this kind of bloodletting, Ms. Katz talked about a bloodletting. The bloodletting is on both sides, unfortunately, in situations like this.
Chris Christie, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, George.
Cecilia?
Okay, George, now to the growing devastation from Florence. The system is still causing so much damage across the Carolinas. North Carolina's governor now warning it has never been more dangerous than it is right now. At least 17 people dead, more than 900 rescues, and much of the Carolinas now under flash flood watches or warnings. And the worst could be yet to come in some areas. Let's start with Ginger, who is just back from the storm zone. She is tracking it all. Good morning, Ginger.
Good morning, Cecilia. Let me set the scene for you. So you're waking up, you feel trapped because this is the fourth morning without power and your home is surrounded by water. That is the reality for thousands of people in North Carolina this morning as we watch the system move to the north and flash flood warnings are still on. It's still raining in some of these places. And so you see flash flood warnings all the way from Myrtle Beach and Wilmington up through Greensboro and even Roanoke now. So the threat goes into Virginia and all the way through New England with flash flood watches. Many of these rivers are in record or even major flood stage and will stay there through the end of the week. So we're looking for another 4+ inches in parts of Virginia and then up in New England. See what happens here. By tomorrow night, we could see some flooding in the rivers here. Robin?
And Ginger, you were talking about the difficulty on Saturday to try and leave that region. Can you only imagine what it is like now?
As early as Saturday morning, we could not get out through the north. We had to go all the way to Savannah to get out of the southeast.
All right, Ginger. So let's go to Amy, who's still on the ground there in Elizabeth City, North Carolina. Amy, you've seen those rescues firsthand as that huge effort continues to try and keep people as safe as they can. Amy, good morning.
That's right, Robin. It is certainly an undertaking. So many towns underwater. The city of Wilmington has essentially become an island. It is impossible to get in or out of the city. Floodwaters have shut down the roads, the airport, even the port. The only way we got out, you're looking at it right behind me, a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter. 17 have been deployed to the area to rescue hundreds still trapped by those rising floodwaters.
On the fourth day of Florence's fury, the unrelenting task of rescuing the stranded and those whose lives are at risk is more crucial than ever. Rescue teams from as far as Los Angeles pulling drivers from submerged cars as helicopters race to cities almost completely cut off by rising waters. We joined a Coast Guard rescue team as they set out to help those still trapped.
With so many roads flooded and impassable in this area, these Coast Guard helicopters become an absolute lifeline for people who have medical emergencies in the storm zone.
This woman telling me she is suffering from appendicitis and couldn't leave her flooded home. Another man desperately in need of oxygen. Animals, too, being pulled to safety. These dogs were stranded in the rising water. Their dramatic rescue caught on camera with little time to spare. Overnight, officials believe those floodwaters are to blame for this train pushed off its tracks with a payload of hazardous material. Over 2 feet of rain has fallen and no relief in sight.
That's enough to cause flooding in areas that have never flooded before. Floodwaters are still raging across parts of our state, and the risk to life is rising with the angry waters.
With one dam at Fayetteville already failing, spilling millions of gallons of water rushing into streets and homes. Nearly 700,000 people left without power as homeowners start returning to assess the catastrophic damage to their properties. One man just getting over the damage imposed by Hurricane Matthew 2 years ago.
My family had been here since the 60s. Never seen any sort of flooding like this until Floyd. And we thought, well, that's a 500-year flood. Now it seems the 500-year floods come every other year. How do you plan for that?
But government officials warning the worst is yet to come.
If you are refusing to leave during this mandatory evacuation, then you need to notify your legal next of kin, because the loss of life is very, very possible.
These U.S. Coast Guard chopper units have already rescued 193 people and 91 pets. 4 have already left this morning, and they're going to be very busy over the next several days, Robin.
Bless them for their work. All right, Amy. Thanks so much. Cecilia?
Okay, Robin, now to new details about those mysterious gas explosions rocking several towns in Massachusetts, killing one person and destroying dozens of homes. Thousands forced to evacuate. ABC's Lindsay Davis is there in Lawrence, Massachusetts, where, Lindsay, investigators have now identified the cause.
They have, Cecilia, and also good news, all of the homes in this area have now been given the all clear as far as gas is concerned. Thousands of residents returned to their homes yesterday, with the exception of about a dozen like this one, where there's simply nothing left to return home to. Only a charred skeleton remains.
Emotional residents returning home, surveying the wreckage after a horrific string of gas explosions set 3 towns in Massachusetts ablaze. A firefighter from the town of Lawrence and his family now back in their home of 20 years, telling us they're still afraid.
I don't want to be here at night. It's a little unnerving.
Amid the chaos, the off-duty firefighter dashed door to door to save lives, turning off his gas meters after an explosion destroyed his neighbor's home, taking the life of 18-year-old Lionel Rondon when a chimney crashed onto his car. 12 others were injured.
They risk their lives every day that they go to work, and even though he was off duty, first responders are never off duty.
It started Thursday in Lawrence, Andover, and North Andover. Between 60 and 80 structures ravaged by gas fires. More than 8,000 homes affected. Residents forced to evacuate.
Okay, a loud explosion in the Colonial Heights neighborhood. It sounded like it came from a house.
The governor declared a state of emergency Friday, and over the weekend, state officials inspected more than 5,000 residences, later announcing it was safe to go home for all but 12 families. Investigators are now pinpointing the cause.
So while we know that this incident was caused by gas flowing at a significantly greater pressure, the question now is why. The investigation continues. Cecilia.
Certainly terrifying for those families. Lindsay, thank you.
Terrifying indeed. So I think we could end the half hour on a little bit of a lighter note. This is a trick play of the year in college football. Did you see this over the weekend? Arkansas punts the ball. North Texas punt returner Keegan Brewer catches it and just stands there, which is what you do when you call for a fair catch. But he never called for it. He never did. So he takes off 90 yards for the score. North Texas says they've been practicing that trick play for weeks. 44-17 over the Razorbacks.
Hey,
whatever works. You know, they never called for it. Didn't hit him, and then he's like, see ya! There he goes.
He got it.
Yeah, he did.
He's got some speed, too.
He does. He took off from a standstill.
He sure did. Let's go back to Ginger.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about this. So this morning, the heavy rain is falling near Parkersburg, West Virginia, but it is going to move through Washington, D.C., a couple of bands today, and then eventually interior New England tomorrow. Your local weather in 30 seconds. First, the select cities, brought to you by Walgreens.
This flu season, protect yourself. And your sister-in-laws, tennis partners, chatty co-workers, youngest daughters, entire judo class. One shot can make a world of difference. Walgreens has specially trained pharmacists that know which flu shot is right for you. Protecting the world. Over 60 million flu shots and counting. Starts with protecting yours. Walgreens. Trusted since 1901.
Well, Stormwatch 7 tracking the remnant rain from Florence, and the National Weather Service issuing a flash flood watch. That includes parts of the DMV and areas west, 1 to up to 4 inches of rain. Not out of the question. So don't leave home without the umbrella and, of course, your Stormwatch 7 weather app. Some showers developing this morning, areas of rain and maybe some thunderstorms through the afternoon and into the evening. It will be rainy and windy, and we do have a flash flood watch. So remember to turn around, don't drown.
Coming up, we have that deadly shark encounter at Cape Cod. A 26-year-old killed while boogie boarding, the first deadly attack there in more than 80 years. Were warning signs missed?
And new stunning allegations from Woody Allen's wife, Suni Previn, defending her husband, accusing Mia Farrow of physical and emotional abuse. She's telling her story for the first time in 20 years.
Being a good father is important to me.